seatbelt on, we're hitting the road. Got a pocket full of questions, let the answers unfold. It's Friday morning, time for a little fun. Time to get your traffic and police questions done. No need to worry, we'll clear up the mess. With a traffic cop knowledge, we'll put you to the test. From red lights to speeding, we've got it all covered. Sit back, relax, and let's uncover the truth. Uncover, ask a traffic cop. It's your time to find out all the answers to your questions. Let's clear away the doubt. Ask a traffic cop. We're here to guide you right on this Friday morning. Let's light up the night.
Cruising down the street, feeling the heat. It's Friday morning, time to hit the beat. Ask the traffic cop, here to clear your doubts. Getting ready for answers, no room for clouds. Buckle up tight, gotta stay in control. Navigating the roads, running hard on the foe. From red lights to yellow, reading everything in between. I'm here to give you wisdom like a traffic machine. Taking your questions, I didn't fight. From traffic violations to the right of way. Got my shades on, feeling the groove. Ask a traffic cop is about to make moves. Cruising down the street.
Hey, I figured it's 10 o'clock. I should stop the little pre-thing that was going. Guess what? It's Friday, and I'm here. I'm here to talk to you about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. It's because my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service who talks about traffic services topics like safety, law, general police stuff, occasionally donuts. I've been known to talk about chicken wings. I don't do a lot of politics, although I did watch the debate last night, and that was interesting and scary. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day. It is a Friday celebration. Let me make that a little lower before I hit the button. Yeah, it's a Friday celebration because tomorrow is Saturday and a long weekend, no less. I won't be here Monday, and neither should you. Maybe do we put a podcast up for Monday? I don't know. We'll figure something out. But I hope that you've got great big plans for the weekend, and that you're going to have a lot of fun, and you're going to enjoy yourself, and you're going to drive sober, because that's a thing. A lot of people are going to be celebrating. Sometimes the celebrating gets into stuff and things you shouldn't be doing when you're behind the wheel. Many of those end in tragedy. We don't want that for you. We want you to be safe, just because we want you to get to where you're going and back home again without hurting yourself or anyone else. It's a thing. And on that note, let's talk about Vision Zero, because those are some of the fine officers who are out there trying to make a difference, one ticket at a time. I say ticket, but sometimes it involves an arrest, because they also look for people who are driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Now, the focus of Vision Zero is to reduce serious injury and death on our roadways. Simple as that. When you engage in speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving, you are increasing the odds of hurting somebody, and that somebody could be you. I don't want to get into all the heavy stuff. This is Friday. We're supposed to be having fun. But the reality is some people will go out tonight and not come home. And it could be because of the driver. So think about it. Make plans in advance. I took that down, and I'm putting it back up again, because I want to talk about Vision Zero as a general concept. See, we have folks that choose to engage in those behaviors, and they do it in different areas, which means we spend our time in different areas to combat that behavior. Now, today being the 28th, we come back here, it's going to be July. It's very scary. They're going to be in 32 Division and 33 Division. I say they're going to be. They're probably already there because they start early in the morning. But those are neighborhoods like Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, Parkwoods, Donalda, Bayview Village, York Mills, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. We announce these locations every single day. We put it on Twitter, we put it on Instagram, we put it on Facebook. So if you don't already follow us there and you want to be notified where we are addressing concerns that day, focusing on Vision Zero, well, then I suggest you go over to TrafficCop.ca. If you go there, you got links to all of our social media content. You can subscribe, follow, like, and all that jazz. And you can also get links to great useful information, because at the bottom of the page, I didn't plan this very well because I should have had this up so I could show you. But at the bottom of that link tree, I've got all sorts of useful links for renewing, setting up for renewal reminders for your health card and your driver's license and your license plate. But as of July 1st, apparently you won't have to renew it unless you have issues. Doesn't everybody have issues of some kind? So go and make sure you're signed up for notifications in case there's an issue. They can get a hold of you, and they do that through either a text message, email, or telephone call. But I think you need to set up for everything. So go use the link on TrafficCop.ca. And if you have questions and they don't fit into your DM, or you can't get through, or for whatever reason it's not working, well, then I would suggest you also use the link on that page to send me a message. Hey, if you know somebody who'd be a great guest on the show, because we have a podcast too, we have guests, there's the thing there for collaborate with me. And if you're a content creator and you think you've got something to lend to the topic of traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, then reach out. All right. Next things next, or first things next, second things second. Okay, if you are watching, you're probably on one of these platforms, because we broadcast on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, which is now X, Kick, all of them. I will say this now, and I say this I try and remind everybody, the best experience is going to be YouTube and TikTok. Maybe even YouTube the most. But every platform is the platform that's you're on, or whatever platform you're on is the one you might be happiest with. So don't think this means you have to change. But if you're having difficulty getting your questions seen, maybe it's time to do it. Apparently, TikTok chat questions aren't coming up. So let me see if I can fix that. Thank you to the moderator for letting me know. Are we actually getting TikTok questions coming in? Oh, yes, a whole bunch of them are coming in, but they're not working. So let me see if I can fix it. This is the CPR of the chat bot business. Stand by. Ooh. See if that fixes it. Redo. Now, we'll do our very best. I'm not going to go long today. Today we are going to end the show promptly at 11-ish. Usually we like 11:40. We've been going long lately. Today is not a day that we can do that. So questions at 11 o'clock, whatever's unanswered is going to be unanswered. But that's the joy of coming in early. Get in early so you can get. Oh, I see TikTok is now working. Cool. We have the questions coming in. Awesomeness. What are we doing next? I talked about this. I talked about that. What else can I tell you? Oh, let me see. I have notes here. We talked about the debate. I mentioned that we didn't really talk about it. I had a funny comment, or is it it was a comment that I responded to, and I don't know. I don't think it was even on a video about lane splitting, but the comment was saying that I provided bad information. That's what the comment suggested. They suggested in the comment that lane splitting isn't illegal in Toronto, and they know this because they took a motorcycle course like last week to get a motorcycle license. And in that course, allegedly, the instructors told them the law and said that they could, in fact, lane split or lane filter in Toronto, that it was legal. I suggested that that wasn't the case. They responded, doubling down on the fact that they know better because they took a motorcycle course last week or relatively recently, and they know better. They got bad information. And I mean, it's great that they think they know something, and I appreciate that, it's good to, stand up for your beliefs. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And if the police are telling you that this is not the case, to protect you from potentially getting tickets, maybe we're telling you the truth. Because it's certainly not that we're trying to give you tickets. Because then I'd be the one telling you that it is legal when it's not, and I'd be jamming you up with a ticket, kind of like an entrapment thing. But I'm actually trying to help you. In fact, all of the question and answer business that we do here is trying to help people. Anyway, that's it. I just thought it was funny. I thought I'd share. Hey, after this episode, I download it and then put it back up as a podcast. So if you can't stick around, but you want to listen to the answers to questions, if you drop that question and leave, you want to find out if we actually answered it, yeah, download it as a podcast. You can get us on Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, Spotify, which is where it is actually hosted and then shared to the other places. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's actually nothing different. Now we do have TPS Traffic Jam, which is a Toronto police podcast where we ask and interview people I want to say it's always traffic, but it's not always traffic. I've got an episode that I'm working on right now that is with our friends from ASSI. They're the folks who handle the collision reporting center. They have some tips. We talk about that. I have an episode that I'm working on that is dealing with the military veterans wellness program. They're a great organization that helps veterans. And it's not just Toronto Police. This is veterans who are out there who may not be getting the help they need. They haven't been put together with the programs that they're entitled to. It helps police officers identify veterans that need help in the community and put them in touch with the right people to get them help. So really amazing program. That episode's coming up soon. So that's TPS Traffic Jam. You can get both of those there. And you can also, of course, get them on YouTube because I put all the episodes of everything on YouTube. All right. With that said, with that done, let us do this. And we'll get into your questions now. Scrolling to the top of the list. We've got a happy Friday and good morrow to all. Julie Massey says, good mister. Followed up with a good morning and happy Friday. The accidental discharge of a character return button. It's dangerous. It's dangerous indeed. Evandro Carlos de Oliveira. Did I say that right? I think I did. Good morning, your Brazilian fan watching again. Drive safe, everybody. Have a good long weekend. I saw your video. Evandro takes pictures, takes our video content and reproduces it in Spanish and in Portuguese. If you're looking to assist your community, if you're part of the Spanish or Portuguese speaking community, he's the guy that's taking this and making it palatable for whomever doesn't speak English as their first language. Well, assuming it's one of the languages that he speaks. But he takes that content. He just put the one up talking about which documents he must have or you must have when you're pulled over by police. So that's good. But good stuff. I hope people are responding well to it. Shay says, "What a debate! Clear who came out on top." Yes, I think I can't. There was a great meme that went out afterwards, and if you know the beginning of the intro to the Royal Rumble, which was "Let's get ready to rumble," you know that one. They did the same thing, but they did it with mumble, and it was humorous. Okay, let's see here. Question from Motorcycle Experience. If lane filtering and lane splitting are illegal for motorcycles in Ontario, what section of the HTA or other acts states this, and what are the costs of the ticket? Okay. Maybe they were waiting for me based on this. I don't know. Maybe you were responding. Perfect timing because I opened the show with it. So lane splitting and lane filtering isn't a line item in the Highway Traffic Act. Careless driving, stunt driving, and criminal dangerous driving are. You can look those up. The consequences for careless driving, $490 and 6 demerit points. That's the lowest level for what I would charge for a lane filtering or lane splitting charge offense. There could be other things, but that's the basic. I'd start with that. If it was more intense a speed, more intense a driving, more of a departure from what traffic is doing, I would make it a stunt driving charge. Clearly not difficult to articulate stunt driving in that particular situation. That would come with an immediate roadside suspension of 14 days, a impound of your motor vehicle, the motorcycle in question, for 14 days impound, 30 days suspension. I don't know if I messed that up. Anyway, so you have about $1,600 in consequences there because you're paying for towing and you're paying for impound. You get paying for the reinstatement of your license. I have a video that talks about this, by the way. Upon conviction, it's a $2,000 to $10,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail, along with a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition on your first conviction. If you do it again, you get convicted again. It's the same $2,000 to $10,000 fine. It goes up to a 3 to 10 year driving prohibition. and up to 6 months in jail. If it's your third, and I want to say final, but people drive without licenses all the time. If you do drive and stunt drive again, it's a further $2,000 to $10,000 fine. And I'm assuming each time you're not going to 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. I'm assuming that they would increase that maybe to the full 10,000, maybe. You're looking at a lifetime ban on driving or riding in this particular case. And you are then also looking at a further potential. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone who gets convicted of this offense goes to jail. It's something the courts can impose, not will impose. All of these things, but the mandatory minimums are $2,000. If it's a $2,000 to $10,000 range, they can't give you a fine less than $2,000, at least according to my understanding. They could let you plead down to a lesser and included offense, and I think a lot of people try and do that because they don't want to get the driving prohibition. I see that the motorcycle experience, maybe you guys are the motorcycle instructors who gave the information, I wonder. Motorcycle experience says the Ontario Ministry of Transportation states that filtering is extremely dangerous, but they make no reference of an actual law. I think I've covered that. It is extremely dangerous, even in places like Los Angeles, California, or California, because the California Highway Patrol on their website says it's legal there because it's very specifically legal there, but that it's extremely dangerous. So whether the Ministry of Transportation says it is or isn't, I can tell you quite clearly that it is illegal, because we're going to lay the charge for you because your behavior is such that falls into the categories thing. Let's see here. Under which part of the HTA Act and what section under the Act says that motorcycle helmet covers like the Pokemon or Elmo helmet cover are illegal? Again, the HTA doesn't have to specifically line item say Elmo helmet cover illegal. However, you're not allowed to affix anything to the helmet, and there's specific guidelines as to how thick or coatings or even stickers technically can be illegal, but there's case law to support the fact that modifying your helmet makes it no longer legal. So, yeah, you can look at the videos that I have posted on the channel about that because it's all being covered. You're just late to the party. Okay, moving on. Can you explain unnecessary slow driving? How much is the fine? How many points on the driver's license? I don't know about how many points it is. Let's have a look. But in terms of the fine, $110. And what is unnecessary slow driving? So this one, it really bothers me because if we're all driving slow because there's a need, or never mind all, if you're driving slow because you must, road conditions, weather conditions, debris on the road, we're all talking about the same thing here, or at least everything I said basically was the same. You have to slow down for safety. A flock of seagulls lands to feed on someone's, bread they left on the 401. I don't know, whatever. There's animals on the road, got to slow down. There's a collision on the road, you got to slow down. That's not unnecessary. That's absolutely necessary, slow driving. But it's when people are just driving slow because they're fearful or their car is broken or you're impeding traffic and there's no justification for doing it. That's what I'm getting at. Here, slow driving, typing it into the fuzzy search. Boo, boo, boo. Unnecessary. Oh, it's $180. I said it's $110. I was wrong. 2 demerit points. $180. No kidding. Unnecessary slow driving. It says here, no motor vehicle shall be driven on a highway at such a slow rate of speed as to impede or block the normal and reasonable movement of traffic thereon, except when the slow rate of speed is necessary for safe operation, having regard to all the circumstances. And what the problem is that people think it would be appropriate to lay unnecessary slow driving for people who are doing the speed limit, but it's not. People have laid the charge. I think they've laid the charge inappropriately. Like, you should not be able to be convicted of doing 100 in a 100 zone, because anyone that you'd be considered slow in comparison to is breaking the law. So if you're comparable to justify that you are slow is someone who's breaking the law, they should not be included in the equation. They should be taken out of the data set. Because if you're doing 100 in a 100 zone, you are absolutely doing the fastest you are legally allowed to go. Now, people get upset that, well, they shouldn't be in the left lane. They should move to the right. Okay. I can agree from the perspective, or this particular perspective. I've said this in some articles recently. Auto Trader did an article about me, or this topic with me. In any case, the discussion is this. Because we know there's boneheads that will speed, and they need to be in the left lane because they're the faster of the vehicles, I can logically say that you should stay to the right unless you're actively passing, as should anybody, even though no one should be able to pass you because no one can exceed the speed limit legally. So stay to the right if you're not actively passing. If you're 100 and if you're doing 100 kilometers an hour in a 100 zone and you're the fastest vehicle on the road, stay to the far right. Let everybody else go faster. It's much easier for us to do enforcement when all the people breaking the law are in the same place. But because we know the speeders will do crazy things, like I see every day on the way to work, they'll pass you on the right. They'll move 3 lanes over to duck through traffic. And we're not talking about people doing 110. We're talking about people doing 140 and a 90. We see it every day. Anyway, I hope that helps. We're moving on. Are motorists allowed to install any LED lights under the vehicle, truck, and motorcycle as long as they don't impersonate emergency services? Depends. The deal is that you can, like I used to have engine glow LEDs under my gas tank on my motorcycle, and they created the engine compartment glow. It was not a direct projection of light outward. It was reflection off the chrome on my engine. Not illegal, but if it was blinking or directional front or back, it could be an issue. So you cannot project light that is anything other than yellow or red to the front. You cannot project light to the rear, anything other than red or amber, aka yellow. I guess we could debate whether yellow and amber are the same thing, but they're variations of. Both apply. Both are acceptable. But if you were to project purple to the front, red to the front, blue to the front, it's a problem. Sergeant Campbell and I disagree on something. I talk about reflected light being acceptable versus projected direct light not being. So if your bulbs are visible and I can see the light source directly, you're projecting it. If you're bouncing it off the ground, I don't have a problem with it. But other officers might. So your mileage may vary. Akela Draconis comes in with greetings and salutations from Grafton. I am not familiar with Grafton. Where art thou? Well, you said you're in Grafton, but I don't know where Grafton is. So we're now I want to see pictures. What is there? I got a picture. A friend of mine is staying in Rome right now and sent me pictures of a cool place that he's staying at. And now I'm sort of demanding photos whenever somebody says I'm somewhere that I don't know. I'm like, show me. And in speaking with people who are traveling and talking about long distance, why not just FaceTime? Just take me for a tour. Show me where you are. I think that's very cool. I love technology, this ability. Motorcycle experience has many questions today. We'll try and get through all of these, and we'll also address other people's stuff and things because we don't want to, take over the channel with just motorcycle experience. But I like motorcycle stuff. I have a G&M license and boat license. I have photocopies of my ownership and insurance on my phone for all. Photocopies, not photocopies, of my ownership and insurance on my phone for all my vehicles. Are these types acceptable? Your G&M license is one license, right? It's one license with a different designation. You say GM on the back of it. You must have the physical card. Your boat license, you need your boat license, your physical boating license. I have mine too, but I don't know where it is. Now, photocopies. Let me get my prop here. Photocopies on paper, yes, an actual photocopy. Printed on paper, both sides of the original ownership document, whether black and white or color, irrelevant, both are acceptable. Photos of your ownership, not acceptable. That did not meet the requirements under the law. Insurance documents, photos are not acceptable. Either the original pink slips, or you can have an electronic form that is an app provided by the service provider. The insurance company can give you an app that is secure, that allows not only for you to display the card, but also for you to be able to send it to the police. So those are the only acceptable permit options and the only acceptable ownership. That's the same thing. Insurance options, but you can't have pictures instead. It doesn't meet the requirement. You would still be eligible for tickets. Now, I'm not going to say that police officers may not accept it. They can choose to. They can say, I'm accepting that because I'm giving you, I'm employing officer discretion. Even though you've broken the law, you haven't met the requirements, I could still say, yeah, I'm okay with that. But I don't have to. You have not met the requirements, just to be clear. And finally, I think this is the last question for a bit from you. Motorcycle Experience asks, if a pedestrian is crossing the street illegally and a motor vehicle or bicyclist did everything they could to avoid hitting the pedestrian and ends up hitting the pedestrian, who is 100% at fault? Oh, I don't know what's going on. I think the producer's pressing buttons. Possibly, maybe. They said, moderator said sorry. It's okay. It's all good. The answer to that is it's rare that someone is 100% at fault. So I can tell you this: you're responsible for what you did. So if you hit a pedestrian who is lawfully crossing the road, well, you have an obligation to avoid hitting them. So how do you determine someone is illegally crossing the street? Because does that mean they're mid-block, which is not illegal? Jaywalking is not a charge in Ontario. It doesn't exist. So you can't just hit someone for being on the road. They could be crossing the street legally, lawfully. If they jumped in front of your path and you had no time to react, that is different than if they were on the street and you were speeding, because you're still responsible. Like we do major testing. We do drag testing to determine the friction point of the road to establish what speed you were going based on your skid marks and so on. We're going to determine your actual speed. If you hit somebody because you were speeding, well, you're responsible for what you did, right? If they were on the road but crossing lawfully, like it all depends. But I can't give you 100% fault determination based on your statement because there's way too many variables here. And with that, I think I've covered everything because depends is really the only answer I can give you. There isn't 100% fault without knowing a whole lot more. Basharat Ali, my friend from Punjab, Pakistan, who's a police officer in their traffic police, says, have a good Friday, Sir Sean, and to you as well. Let's see here. I almost went to make an AI thumbnail for the show. Do it. Chase, let's see what you come up with. AI is way too much fun. Did you like my AI Miami Vice Lion from today? I think that's what I put up there. Yeah, last Friday was an AI Miami Vice German Shepherd. I thought maybe Lion is what we need. More of the Don Johnson blonde look. Anyway, I bring up Miami Vice and why I've had 2 themed Fridays with Miami Vice is because I am watching Miami Vice from the beginning. I have the box set and I bought it. I think I watched it was it 1995? Again, like we're talking Miami Vice. When it came out in the 80s. Miami Vice TV. Let's see. When did it come out? 5 seasons, 1984. Really? Holy moly. Well, anyway, I watched it when I was a kid. That was a 10 o'clock TV, and my dad and I watched it. And then I was living in Florida, so I bought the box set, and I was going to watch it while living in Florida. And I watched it a little bit, and I didn't have time. So now I am watching that box set that I bought in Florida, and I am realizing how bad the show was, but I am still watching it. I'm on like episode 3 or 4, and that's what I'm doing, and I will continue to do this weekend. So just saying. We can talk all about Miami Vice, and my good friend Brian Max is a big Miami Vice, and well, he owns a racing team. He's a race car driver, and he and I talk about the cars from Miami Vice. Anyway, depending on where you are, if you've ever watched Miami Vice, you will know what kind of cars they ran. Because it's the first season, do you know what the car was in the first season of Miami Vice? Throw it in the comments if you do. I'm looking over here on TikTok. No one's mentioning the car yet, but it's black. It's a convertible. It's gorgeous. It may or may not be a kit car. Just saying. But it does resemble a real, absolutely real car. All right, moving on. What do we got here? Can I ask a question, officer, please? Yes, you just did, and you can ask another one. Red Hay says it stays in your system. What stays in my system? Let's see here. Question from Fun Videos. Do you have to register a car in Ontario if you want to use it for parts only? Oh, so you're not registering it for the road, it's a parts car? That's a good question that I don't have an answer for. I don't know if you have to register it. I mean, you're purchasing it. You're scrapping it. You're parting it out. I don't know. Yeah, you got to call the ministry. I don't actually have an answer for you. I'm sorry. I like to think that I know a lot of stuff. I don't know that. Michael is calling me a geek for talking about the car. I think that's what they're saying. But I think that is quite a compliment. I appreciate it because the geeks shall inherit the earth. Oh, I love people who think. Well, it depends. He might be just being like a gentle jab, as poking fun, or maybe they're talking to somebody else. I can't even tell anymore. Michael, just ignore. Okay, going on. Let's see here. Oh, wait. Noah wants to know. I hit the button and I didn't read the question. How do you feel about the street racing in Toronto that happened on the weekends? We don't like it. Street racing, illegal, unsafe. And we're there to put an end to it. We're there to arrest people when they do it and charge people appropriately for stunt driving. There's nobody that should be doing that. You're putting lives at risk. You're doing stupid stuff. You're damaging, the roads. You're damaging stuff when you crash. It's just all around bad. And we're actually charging people criminally very often. If we can substantiate the charge, you can end up at far more serious charges than simply stunt driving. So yeah, we're pretty cross about it. Let's see here. Question of, can you turn while there are pedestrians walking in the crosswalk? Well, let's deal with the obvious. If there's people in the crosswalk and you turn, you will run over pedestrians in the crosswalk. So you need to be a little more specific in your question. I'm poking a little bit of fun, but I want to make sure that we're 100% clear. You can't cross in between people. You have to yield to the people, which means they have the right of way. If they're legally in the road, they need to be able to cross. And depending on the circumstances, you may not be able to enter the crosswalk until people are off the road entirely, but there's different circumstances, depends. So let's deal with the basics. It's a signalized intersection. They're approaching your half of the road, either from the center of the road towards your half or from the curb entering your half. They're on your half. You have to wait. Cannot enter the crosswalk. If they've passed your vehicle, they've passed your half of the road, they're facing away, they're at the center of the road going the other way. If there's no crossing guard present, you can actually continue through the crosswalk at that point. If there is a crossing guard present, you must wait until all persons are off the roadway completely. Now that's for a signalized intersection and for a stop sign controlled intersection. Again, depending on if there is a person with a stop sign in their hand being a crossing guard. Now, if it is a pedestrian crossover, which is unique and most people get confused about it. This is a crosswalk that is in the middle of nowhere. There's no intersection there. It's just a crosswalk in the middle of the road. Pedestrian crossover, very often identified by overhead lights, flashing lights, and so on. Those, regardless of the presence of a crossing guard or not, requires you to wait until all persons are off the road. I see that our moderator put up a different question, which will come. It says here, black regulatory sign is shown at 90 kilometers an hour, but there's also an orange 70 kilometer an hour sign, which to abide. Well, obviously the 70 says slow down for safety, but in terms of which one is enforceable, the 90 is enforceable. So, you can't be ticketed for the 70, but you at least in Toronto and Ontario, they could be different in different jurisdictions. But here, if it's not a regulated sign, being a white sign with black text, it's not enforceable. But should you do the 70? Yeah, you really should. Could, if there were workers present and you were doing 90 and the 70, could you be pulled over and investigated by police? Yeah. Now, could you be charged for speeding? No, but could you be charged for something else? Yeah. They could find something to charge you with, whether it's putting people in risk. I don't know what to charge you with. We don't really, like in Toronto. If we're going to have a long-term project for speed change, we're going to put up a temporary regulated sign. So that's the thing. Talked about the registry of your car in Ontario for parts. You got to talk to somebody else. Dad joke. Oh, no, I want to keep the dad joke for later. Okay, I'll keep the dad joke for later. And it's a motorcycle experience dad joke. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I look forward to reading it. I'm specifically not looking at it. What is this one? If you or someone is taking a life-threatening injured person or a female who is giving birth to the hospital in a personal car and you are speeding, is there a chance the driver getting a speeding ticket? Yeah. It's also a chance that you get into a collision, you never make it to the hospital. So when you are trying to get somewhere fast, and it's because someone's suffering from a medical emergency or is having a baby, these are stressful situations. And what we do is make really bad decisions. You're focused on them. You're not really focused on the road. You're going faster because there's urgency and bad things happen. In policing, we talk about guaranteed arrival. We train police officers not to go really, really fast. Sounds counterproductive. We don't actually go at light speed when we go places. We go faster than the flow of traffic. We may be going, 10 or 20 over the speed limit. We might be only going 10 or 20 over the speed of everybody else because speed differential matters. It's a big problem. So, yeah, speeding not okay. If you're going to drive, with the amount of stress that you may be going through, just driving the speed limit may be dangerous. So it's always best to call an ambulance in these situations. Now, people from rural areas say, well, it's an hour for an ambulance to get to me. Okay, talk to the people on the phone. You call dispatch and you say, here's the situation. Here's what I'm experiencing. This person I'm with is bleeding. I'm worried that they're not going to make it. What should I do? Ambulance they may say, well, ambulance is half an hour out. You could say, I don't think they're going to make it. They might tell you, get in the car, drive safely, and keep us on the phone and tell us where you are, and we'll have the ambulance meet you on the way. That's reasonable. Speeding isn't. Now, I'll give you more. When you get the ambulance, they're not just a bus to take you to the hospital. They are taking you to the hospital, but they're giving you life-saving medical attention right there. They are providing you with the ability to get to the hospital because they've started treating you, whether it's through medical, like medication or tourniquets or first aid, whatever it is. They're doing something to make you stable enough to last the ride to the hospital. That's your best thing. Just speeding. If I pulled you over for speeding because you were speeding, and I saw that you were having a medical emergency, I would be providing first aid, calling for an ambulance, and keeping you there. I would not say go and follow me, because that's putting all the liability on me and not helping you get to a place safely. I'm going to provide first aid because I'm first aid trained, and I'm going to keep you right there. And whether I charge you, maybe I won't charge you, but I'm certainly not going to let you continue on your path. You might not even get there. You might hurt yourself or somebody else on the way. Anyway, I'm going. This topic is long in the tooth, but we'll go to the next thing because there's so many other things to talk about. Let's see here. Why can I change my gender, but I can't modify my car? Highway Traffic Act has nothing to do with your gender. Okay. We talked about this already. What's the legal ride height in Ontario? Are we talking about the ride height for vehicles? Do you mean how low or how high you can modify? You need to give me more information there. What is the maximum power for an e-bike in Ontario? 32 kilometers an hour is the maximum speed it can be capable of traveling. A 500-watt motor is the maximum engine or motor size that you can have on that vehicle. You can't have, like for instance, the Suron's like 12,000 watts. No, 500 watts is the maximum. And it's not something that's just, they've got a restriction that you can take off. It is something that is absolutely, you cannot have more. Unless it's a cargo e-bike, which is allowed under a pilot to have up to 1,000 watts. But the maximum speed is still only 32 kilometers an hour. If it does 33, it's a motorcycle. License, ownership, and insurance, you're going to get charged, and we will charge you. Okay. Let's see here. We got that. We talked about this. What is this? Michael H. says, what a ripoff of an M class. There is careless stunt. I don't know what you're talking about, Michael. I don't understand the context of your statement. Okay. Big Jeff Fresh, what's going on, brother? Good morning and happy Friday, Sean and everyone. How are we today? We are doing well, although I will admit that I'm a little tired. I was up playing with my laser cutter until almost midnight, which means I did not sleep very much because I was here at 6. Yeah. But you know what? I was making cool stuff. We talked about maximum e-bike power. We talked about this. Please don't repeat the same questions. It is annoying to have to read the same thing again and again. What is this? Neha says, is responding to Pookie. That's so nice. Making exhaust too loud is bothering to other people. Yes, it is horrible. It is horrible to have loud noisiness that only you appreciate, but everybody else is woken up from sleep that we don't get enough of anyway. What do we got here? Oh, lots of repetition of the same stuff. Zombie says, happy Friday. Thank you, Zombie. Same to you. It is always nice to be, that it's funny. We talk about people think about the time that they're having, and they think that today is what determines whether they're having a good time or a bad time. And I really like this concept of living into the future. And I mean that like saying today is based on or influenced heavily on the future you're about to live into. So knowing that I don't have to come to work tomorrow, as much as I love you guys, means that I'm having a great day today because tomorrow I'm not going to be here. And I know that. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And on Sunday, or in this case, Monday, I'll be less happy because I know I'll come back to work. I have to wake up early again. Yeah. Oh, we got a Killer Draconis, got a Star Wars Dad joke book for Father's Day. That's awesome. I'm without a dad joke calendar. Last year, my wife got me a dad joke calendar for the show, and the show, well, the jokes weren't that good. But I much prefer having you guys submit the jokes. It's more fun. All right. What is this? Fun Videos wants me to answer what exactly? Oh, wanted me to answer whether or not I've answered already, but they keep asking. Mind you, this is old comments. Let's see here. Can you use a phone app for a speedometer if your vehicle doesn't have one, motorcycle specifically? The answer is technically no. There is specifically an exemption for GPS, and that is the only exemption. I don't believe that there's anything for speedometer. And you say I say that I don't believe because I'm not aware of any, so I'm not going to give you advice outside of the scope of what I know. It is specific to GPS, although GPS apps often have speedometers. They tell you the speed you're traveling while you're traveling across the map to warn you when you're speeding. So in that context, if you were to have the GPS app open and the mode that the app was on was speedometer, I think that would be able to hold up. But I think you're far better to get a speedometer for your motorcycle. What kind of motorcycle do you have that doesn't have a speedometer? And if it's broken, fix it. Mind you, you don't have to legally have a speedometer unless you're driving a school bus, which is one of those odd things. Nice background. Thank you. The desk is cool. That's the latest edition, and it's specifically for podcasting when we have guests in. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see here. This is from Jacob Pills. My dad was driving my car when he got hit and found out he's suspended. Will my insurance decline? Well, you can be charged for allowing a suspended driver to drive your car. Your insurance can certainly decline to pay if you're allowing a suspended driver to operate your motor vehicle. Yeah, that could be really bad for you. So, but it is ultimately the insurance company's choice what they want to do. But I'm sure it's not going to be a fun situation. Now, speaking of confirming whether or not someone is licensed or not licensed, I want to share something with you because it is particularly relevant. I haven't spoken about it in a while. Traffic Cop. Let's see here. If you go to TrafficCop.ca, it is my link tree. I mentioned it earlier, but now I have reason to go back and talk about it again. If you go to actually, I should look. Here we go. Now it looks like I'm staring at it. So if you scroll down to the bottom, no, I have to do this again because I'm going to look over it here now. Okay. If you scroll down to the bottom, it says useful links. Now, one of these useful links is the check driver's license page. Let's see if it loads up properly. No, it's not working properly. Maybe they've changed the link. It's taking some time to load. It might be blocked from our IP. I'm not sure. But what should be happening? Let me try it on my phone. It's a website that is the MTO, and it allows you to check the status of a license, and it's what rental companies use to make sure the people they're renting them to, their vehicles to, didn't type my own website properly, to make sure they're licensed, because you're responsible if you hand out your car to someone who's unlicensed. Okay, stand by. Why our website's not responding today? For some reason, my phone ASKaTrafficCop.ca. Typing it on my phone. Here we go. All right. Scrolling to the bottom. Okay, it's not working here for whatever reason. It is working on my phone, so I know that the website is working. I just can't show it to you. Let's see here. I can, however, show it to you like this. So the website allows you to type in the driver's license number, and then you will, or you can scan the driver's license, and it will tell you whether the status is valid or not. It doesn't give you personal data, but it will verify the status of the license, and that is awesome because it covers you from exactly what you're experiencing now. Okay, moving along. Why do speeding cameras give us tickets for only 8 kilometers over when a cop wouldn't pull me over? Because speeding is against the law. Don't speed. It's illegal. You shouldn't get any, if I let you get over 10 kilometers and I don't pull you over, I've effectively told you it's okay to do 10 over. The reason that cops don't pull you over for 8 over is because we're too busy with people doing 20 over. It's not because it's legal. It's not because you should be. And you should absolutely get a ticket for 8 over. Just saying. Grumpy cop complaints, right? It drives me bananas that people speed. We are reducing the speed limits across the city to make it safer for pedestrians and vulnerable road users. And you're complaining about getting a ticket for 8 over? You broke the law. It says here, is the criminal code in effect across Canada in every city in Canada? Yeah, it's the criminal code of Canada. It's the laws for Canada. Now, there may be exemptions, like the ridiculous things regarding drugs in certain places, where they're not enforcing certain things because the federal government gave an exemption that they're not. Anyway, I'm not getting into this. But the laws are the laws, the laws everywhere. Yes. Let's see here. Concrete service leak says, any lawyer would cook you, bro. Don't know what you're talking about. Feel free to actually explain your allegation. But let's see here. What is Linda saying? Linda says, good morning, hero. Thank you to all, or thank you for all your hard, for all your hard work. There's a missing F. Thank you so much. Linda's always being positive and sharing good stuff with us as a supporter of the police. Fun Videos keeps asking the same question that we've answered before. Scrolling down. Okay. Maybe this is duplication that we're having from the scraping system. Scraping system, because that's how we get the stuff, the questions on the screen. Can you drive all over Canada with a G2? The answer is yes. But there are conditions on your license, like 0 blood alcohol content, and that you have a limitation to persons in your vehicle between midnight and 5 a.m. that aren't part of your immediate family. Somebody called me a professional yapper. I think this is particularly funny. James Freudenberg says professional yapper. I'm a police officer. I'm a human, and I'm capable of speaking in a way that is understandable by most. Yeah, I do get paid to educate people, but yapping, I think that is understating my true potential and value. All right. Is it illegal to drive on the left line on a 60 but going only 45? Now, on its face, if nobody else is around, no, it's not illegal. You're allowed to drive under the speed limit. If you're interfering with traffic by doing that and there's no justification for going below the speed limit, then possibly, yes. What is this? Is it legal changing lane after stopping on a red signal when no one is there? How do you change lanes on a red signal if you're at the line? You'd be entering you'd be like backing up and then changing lane or crossing across. They're improper turns. If you're not, you're better off to simply drive legally, make a turn, do a U-turn where it's safe, turn into a parking lot, turn around. If no one's around, you're not going to get a ticket. But is it truly legal to back up, change lanes? Not. Could you be charged for something? Yeah, you could, but that's only if someone was there. So like if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to witness it, did it really fall? What's the sound of one hand clapping? It's just, what do we got here? What's the speed limit on the highway now? Depending what the sign says and depending on what highway. Are there any traffic laws or codes that you personally have disagreed with? Traffic laws? No, not really. I can't think of anything offhand that's an issue. Criminal code things or policies in the country? Sure. Traffic laws? They're all pretty common sense. They all make sense. Suron, so are Surons illegal? They are electric dirt bikes. They are motorcycles. Yes, they are illegal for street use. They are not bicycles. They do not qualify as e-bikes in Ontario. So they'd be illegal anywhere other than on your private property or if you license them for off-road use. Licensed for off-road use, meaning a license plate, insurance, and so on for the off-road use trails, but they cannot go on the road, sidewalk, or parks. Boom, boom, boom. What do we got here? Is it legal? We talked about that. Darren Tobias, if that's your real name, and if it's your real name, real smart, telling the police that you have gone 344 kilometers an hour. You can't catch them. Well, fortunately, most people who do 344 usually splat and it deals with itself. Doing stupid stuff if you're not on a racetrack is stupid. But bragging about it is even more stupid. Anyway, let's see here. People doing 70 on the 401 are far more dangerous than those doing 120. No, I would say that 70 on the 401, if they're in the right lane, could be legal in certain circumstances. Doing 120 on the 401 is never legal. And everyone should be doing 100 as a maximum or 110 in some sections. And anyone who's going more is creating an unsafe speed differential to the person who's doing 70. I would not charge someone for doing 70. They just need to be on the right side. If they're doing 70 in the passing lane and they're impeding traffic that's doing 100 or 110, then I would give them a ticket for failing to, to be on the right or for impeding traffic, unnecessary slow driving, whatever you want to charge with that's appropriate. Greg Marshall says, good morning. Good morning to you. Yo says, how do you reply to any questions regarding law when I could be from anywhere in the world? Well, it says Toronto Police. I tell people that it's Toronto Police. The description of the video says Toronto Police, at least depending on the platform. You're on TikTok, it doesn't say there, but the account is Traffic Services, and we're very much talking about Ontario law. If you're from somewhere other than Ontario, I got to let us know because we are the Toronto Police speaking about Ontario law. Now, I might know what we're talking about for somewhere else, so you can always ask the question. But no, we're not giving advice for, Alabama. I don't know what the law is in Alabama. I got Google, though. So do you. Toronto Road Cam says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you. Oh, Zombies from Grafton. Grew up in Grafton. Let's see here. Michael says, and this is a different Michael, by the way, not our regular Michael. You're not a grandma. Low-key, he's always speeding, but low-key denies it on the way to work. Actually, I drive a big old truck, and my big old truck does not like driving fast for two reasons. But the biggest one is because it chews up the gas. It's a twin turbo. So I do not speed. I do not speed because, A, I'm incredibly identifiable. You would be catching me and putting me on the front page of the newspaper if I did. And two, I actually believe that speed is dangerous. The faster you go, the less reaction time you have. Thus, it's a bad idea. I don't do it. I'm a traffic cop. I accept that speed is dangerous. Even if I'm a great driver, everybody else is less good. And therefore, I don't want to be speeding when people are making really dumb moves around me. And I watch, and I usually record my drives because I like using them for social media. I have a great video of me driving to work where people, lose their minds. It's like the Star Wars intro in reverse. Let's see here. School ferry. If I notice traffic lights going to be changing because of the crosswalk signal and decide to stop for an upcoming red light and the vehicle behind me hits me, is it my fault? So you're stopping for an upcoming light, like it's green, but you're stopping? That's a problem. Now, they're responsible for slowing down and stopping too, but maybe I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Are you slowing down for a yellow? Perfectly legitimate. Yellow means stop. I know people say it means go faster or slow down or maybe or caution. No, it means stop unless it's unsafe to do so. So No, it depends. You should be able to stop for any reason safely, not slam on the brakes, and no one should hit you because they're responsible for the movement of their motor vehicle. But maybe there's something I'm not picking up from what you're putting down. Maybe put it a different way. Unless I've answered your question, at which point, hooray. Let's see here. I'm not wearing a seatbelt. That's from Mr. Win, Mr. W. I don't know. But okay. Buck says, this is lit. Always nice for the support. I got your email, by the way, and he says, I feel safer already. What is this? Someone says officers. Okay. Yeah, so we'll have to connect and chat, Buck. Bicycle, e-bike need helmet. I mean, is it illegal to drive without a helmet? Yes, in the province of Ontario, a bicycle, if you're riding a bicycle and you're under the age of 18, you must wear a helmet. 18 plus, you do not. If you're riding an e-bike, regardless of your age, you must wear a helmet. And oddly enough, like 9 out of 10 e-bikes on the road are being ridden by people who are not wearing helmets. Not only is that stupid, but it's illegal. Can I tint my windshield 30%? No, windshields cannot have any tint on them in the province of Ontario. Your vehicle will be classified as unsafe. We can take your license plates, and you will have to get towed home because you're not allowed to do that. What do we got here? Michael says, blah, 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 too many variables, them deem it 100% fault. Thanks, Copper. Michael doesn't understand what I was talking about, apparently, because variables matter. And if you're blah, 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 you're not picking up what I'm putting down. If you hit it, I think this is in relation, because I think I made a comment about variables for the pedestrian crossing the street. There's never 100, it's very rarely 100% fault because everyone gets charged for what they did. Dave says, how you, Sean? I'm doing well, although I am tired for being up late last night, and I'm looking forward to having a nap when I get home because that's how I roll. Is it illegal to drive with AirPods? Not in the province of Ontario. You can put AirPods in your ears. You can put big over your ears. You can wear noise canceling. You can wear earplugs. You can be deaf and drive. It is not illegal in Ontario. Other jurisdictions may have different regulations. In BC, you can only cover one ear. And I understand the safety concerns of being able to hear things. However, it's not illegal here. Have you ever seen a conviction for a conviction of stunt for brake checking? I don't generally track them. I've never laid a charge for brake checking stunt, only because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it to make it happen. But I don't know. I don't track them. I'm sure it's happened. I'll have to ask some friends. I'll have to do a little unofficial poll to find out if they have had any experience with that. But it definitely qualifies for stunt. It could also qualify for criminal charges of dangerous driving, depending on what could be articulated, like how the officer came to believe that it was a criminal, that the mens rea was there, that there was an intention to hurt somebody. Definitely could be criminal. What do we got here? How to report an e-bike going 60K when they don't have a plate? That is an amazing question. I think they should all have plates. I am apparently speaking in an unpopular way when I say that, though, because bike enthusiasts and such don't agree with me. Well, first of all, an e-bike isn't an e-bike when it's going 60. It's a motorcycle, an unplated motor vehicle. And the only thing I could do is provide information on the description. If you had dash cam footage, link to it when you make a report on tps.ca, and you could, hopefully we could, from that information, piece together an identifier. But ultimately, we need to catch them. We need to catch them because then when we do that, if we get them on radar doing 60 or pace them at 60, we pull them over and charge them for drive no license, drive no insurance, drive no plate, drive unsafe motor vehicle. We charge them for everything that we can because they all are responsible. One person came back with an answer to what vehicle were they driving in the magical Miami Vice. It was a white Ferrari in the later seasons. In the original seasons, it was a black car, also a Ferrari. Anyone know what it was? What model? I need music for. That's not the right game show music. I need game show music. Michael says it's not the answer. Maybe they're talking about the car, maybe not. Neha says slay. Michael says just ignore. Oh, that's they were talking about. Buck says I'm a geek too. Yeah, this is going back some. Geeks for the win, 100%. Oh, Greg Marshall has the answer for parts cars. Parts cars must be registered as unfit. Very cool. There you go. Answer to the person who asked it like every 5 minutes for the first half hour of the show. What else we got? How do warning tickets work in relation to staying on record or file? Yeah, no. So warnings are printed, recorded documents in our system. We take your license, ownership, and insurance. We're going to record the information in our system, and then we issue a warning. That warning goes nowhere else. It doesn't go to your ministry. It does not report to your license. Has no bearing on your driving history, but we keep it. So if you were to do the same thing again or be pulled over for any reason, we would run your license in our system. We would see your warning, and then it might influence what happens next, which is likely going to be no other warnings. If I see someone getting warnings, it means they're breaking the law, and someone either feels bad or is sold by the, being nice, giving you a warning. Well, warnings are for a one-off situation. I don't warn people twice. So then we write the ticket the second time, especially if it was the same thing. What is this? They said, I ran over someone. Can you incriminate someone based off comments? Comments on TikTok or comments by witnesses, which are statements, not comments, or video? What exactly are you trying to ask? Let's see here. Buck says, Fast and Furious made streets racing so cool. I was talking about that chain of movies, that whole, what are they up to, like 12 now? I actually can't watch that crap. I can't. They made it exciting, but they also created an environment where people do really dumb stuff on the road, and it was all influenced by a movie that really wasn't that good. And yeah, I said that. Can you please clarify the difference between a controlled and non-controlled crosswalk? It's not controlled and non-controlled crosswalk. It's a controlled or non-controlled, what the heck did I call it? Uncontrolled intersection. So a controlled intersection, which has automated traffic lights installed, is a controlled intersection. One that has stop signs is different. You see, you said controlled. Now the language I used, I don't think I called it that. Did I call it that? Maybe I did. I don't know. Tired. Okay, so when we talk about an intersection that has no control, no lights, no stop sign, those crosswalks aren't the same. Yeah. All right. Does that sound? I think. Oh my God, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I got to move on. Maybe my brain will kick back on and answer the question that you asked, because the real difference is whether or not you have an intersection, you have a crossing guard, you have a PXO. Yeah. Okay. Can you drive? What is it? I don't know what Colleen is asking. Michael says, I am Iron Man. Like, really? Okay, Michael. Okay. Jaywalking isn't a thing. This is true in Ontario. What do we have here? Michael says, stop being old. It doesn't take much to be fire. Okay. Is it legal? We talked about that. Is a sun blind? Hang on a second here. Oh, here's the answer. Ferrari Daytona Spider. That is the car from the first half of the show, I think, first couple of seasons. And I think it was actually a Corvette kit on the show. I don't think they had an actual Daytona Spider. And what a sad, sad thing when they blew it up. If you haven't seen it, they blew it up and eventually, or crashed it, I can't remember now, but it was destroyed. And then they went to a Ferrari Testarossa, which was probably one of the worst Ferraris ever made, although it was pretty. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Michael's getting annoying. Talked about this, talked about that. Live center, here we go. All right. Can I drive with AirPods in? We talked about that. Niha's offering Michael, a shoulder to cry on because it appears he's having some kind of issues. That's very kind of you, Niha. You're a good friend. So in no way, shape, or form should you be driving without insurance. Correct. You should not drive with insurance. It's a legal requirement in the province of Ontario. Failing to have insurance on a vehicle, you would get charged, and then you would be convicted. Bella says, how are you? I am doing well. Thanks for asking. And what if a raccoon jumps in front of your car? This is going to be a very unpopular answer. You hit the raccoon. You don't swerve and cause a collision or hit a pedestrian or, put a human life at risk. We teach, and I say we, driving instructors teach to take the animal instead of the human. I know there's people out there that would rather hurt a human than an animal. That's not the right answer. Let's see here. What is this? Let them know he's still here. Okay. Bella says, I was hit by a car at Bathurst and King as a pedestrian. He hit me and drove away. Failed to remain. The biggest horrible cowards do that. People get scared. They do stupid things. They run away. Hopefully they come back. Otherwise, when we find them, we charge them. Hopefully we were able to find that one through video. I don't know, obviously, because this is the first I'm hearing of it. But sadly, we have a tremendous uptick in the number of people who run away. So if you can, if you're able to, or if you see someone else in a collision and then run away, try and get that information and be a witness, be a good neighbor, help the person who was hit, because they're often so involved with being injured that someone drives away and then they're never seen or they're never caught. And we obviously want to hold people responsible. And the pedestrian in this situation needs that information to be able to make a claim against insurance. There are ways of getting coverage for people who are in a hit and run. And we talk about victims of crime funding and an insurance policy for the uninsured situation. There's a couple of different avenues. I don't have the details on that, but they exist. But the best is to get the information of the person. There'll be a day when we have everything like on super high res cameras everywhere. Those things that people don't want because they want to get away with being criminals. And I even though that's not a criminal offense, I consider it criminal too. I mean, I consider it because it's an expression. You're just saying it's criminal. It's not actually criminal code offense. First day of summer vacation, and the little one has me exhausted already. Oh my goodness! Or you didn't even say little one. It's just the little. Is that what you call your kids? The little or the kid? The little. Am I allowed to eat spicy hot Cheetos while driving? I don't think there's any regulation against it. I would suggest against putting your finger in your eye though afterwards. Just an idea. Okay, is a sun blind with a suction cup allowed on the driver's window glass? Is that considered tinting the window? That's really the question, right? I think it's going to be up to the interpretation of the officer, because technically you can't tint. Is that tinting the window? If you're affixing it to the window, it might be an issue. I would, of course, not do it. Wear sunglasses. That is the ultimate way to reduce sunlight from entering your eyes and interfering with your ability to see. Okay. Dave says, yes. Talking about insurance slip, yes, you are correct. I did watch the Sleepy Joe and Trump debate. It was incredibly entertaining and scary at the same time. That was one of the reasons I was up late. I was busy being terrified. Let's see here. Apparently, there's going to be a power test in a few minutes, which means we're going to lose connectivity. So I want to say goodbye before. It's one of the reasons I wanted to push through. Thanks for the reminder, and from our magical moderator. But yeah, let's go here. Are you supposed to wear seatbelts in Ontario? That was the question that just. What is this? It's a traffic live. Oh, thank you for. I was trying to click another button, and the other button was going to have a question in there that I was trying to answer that I can't even remember what it said now. Is there? Hang on a second here. I want to see what we have here. Is there an issue with the license plate covers covering up the Ontario? Yours to discover from Purple Penguin. Yeah, you can't put any kind of cover or frame. Not legal. Not legal. All right, let's see here. There's a whole bunch of questions that have come in. I got to go before the cutoff from when they're going to be turning off the power. It's a pretty good reason to do that, right? I think it's reasonable. We talked about this. We talked about that. I'm just going through a list of stuff that was flagged. Okay. Toman wants to know, I'm assuming it's Toe Man, can someone drive wearing their birthday suit? Can you be nude when driving? There's no specific law under the HTA. Is it indecent? I don't want to see it. How do you work with the OPP? If you want to work with the OPP, you apply. How do I work with the OPP? I usually meet them for coffee. We chat a bit. We work closely with the OPP all the time. I don't know actually the context of what you're asking about. Michael H. says, the good sergeant is wrong to me about Underglow. I vote for Sean's side. I appreciate your support, Michael. You're a good friend. But I also think I'm right. I'm looking at it from the whole sciencey side of it. But maybe he is right. I don't know. We remain in a state of flux. Joe says, I hope this is all paid for from our taxes. I'm sure Joe is being sarcastic, but it is, because I'm a police officer on duty with the Toronto Police Service, talking about stuff and things, educating people. Is it illegal when I have a family of 5 and an adult carry one of the toddlers due to space? Absolutely illegal, unsafe, not a good idea. But let's start with go back to the illegal. The driver's getting charged, and I would not let you leave if I pulled you over and saw that. It is the most irresponsible thing you can do to put a child at risk. Child needs an appropriate carrier. Take 2 cars, take a taxi, take a bus, figure it out, but you do not put a child on a lap and drive. Totally illegal. Carson Watson says, are you allowed to keep a legal gun in your vehicle with a trigger lock and a case? Keep it? Like store it? No. It's not for storage. It's for transport. You can get into a whole bunch of problems. Are you a legal gun owner? Because traveling safe storage and whatnot is all covered on the training that you would have had to have taken. But no, you cannot store a fire. Well, also, is it a restricted or non-restricted weapon? In any case, there's been some case law. There's a lawyer that what is his name? There's a great guy who talks about stuff and things on his YouTube page, and it's a unique name. You'd think I'd remember it, but it's not coming to me. So let me see here if I can. What is it called? Let's do a search for firearm. I'm going down a rabbit hole. I know. Oh, what is it called? Okay, I want to get. Maybe we'll talk about it on Tuesday when I'm back. It's a unique name, and it's not coming to me. But he talks about storage, and he talks about case law, and it's really, really interesting. If you're a gun person, I am a gun person. So don't be storing weapons in your. Firearms. Weapons is mean and it hurts people's feelings. So yeah, don't store firearms in your vehicle. Vehicles get broken into and stolen, and your firearms would be going with them. Keep them in the appropriate storage. So in a commercial vehicle, aka big truck, will a photo of the registration work for? No, it does not. You need the actual document or photocopy, but not a photo of. How does a police officer know if you are just overtired on medication or under the influence of alcohol? We test you. If we were giving us signs, if you were so overtired and you were doing this, I would be like, I'm assuming you're under the influence of drugs. I'm going to make a demand for a drug screening or for I could do roadside sobriety testing or a drug recognition expert or I could think you're impaired. Like, I can test you to remove these things as a possibility. But if you are unable to stand up, walk a line, do the things in a sobriety test, I don't know if it's tired or not, but you're not driving a car. It's unsafe. So, yeah, we would go through the motions and we would rule out drugs and alcohol. And maybe it's a medical emergency. Maybe we're going to send you, like, is it tired or is something else going on? We're going to make sure, we take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And that might be sending you to the hospital by ambulance if we can't identify. Tired doesn't usually look as bad as I'm suggesting. So I wonder if the motorcycle instructor is making a genuine mistake. There is no specific charge for lane splitting. Makes sense, but police have generally interpreted it as careless. Yeah, talked about that. Okay, let's do dad jokes and then we're saying goodbye. What did the horse say after it tripped? The answer is, help, I've fallen and I can't giddy up. I like that. That's motorcycle experience. Great first submission. Hope you come back with more dad jokes because that was quality. Let's see here. Dad joke from Michael H. 2 ends of a tire dropped and fall at the same time. It's a tie. Also not bad. In true dad joke, it's truly a dad joke. Truly, truly. Let's see here. Why can't you just deal with the videos on YouTube of White Lines guy flying through traffic? If we can identify who they are, if we can identify time, date, and location, then we could. We'd be able to. Now, if it's on the 401, not a jurisdiction, that's for the OPP to deal with. Okay, and just a reminder that in like 4 minutes, the lights are going out, and then we'll be saying goodbye against our will. So we're going to say goodbye now before that happens, and it gets really uncomfortable with happening automatically. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope that you drive safe, drive sober, that you don't have any negativity on this wonderful long weekend. Spend time with friends, family, and watch reruns of our show. I'll try and put up a podcast to keep you entertained if I can get that done today. Anyway, I hope, like I said, I hope you have a magical weekend. And that's it. I'm out of here. See you on Tuesday because I'm not coming here on Monday. I'm using the intro as an outro and outro as an intro. Actually, that's not what I want to do. I want to put this up instead. Oh, it's not here. I actually want to play something. I'm totally squirreling. Okay. streaming from my phone because can you see this? Is it showing you? No, it's not. Yeah. So okay, it's working. The internet went down. The lights are still on, but the internet is down. Can I change this? I can't change the orientation. I have to hold it really far away. Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody. And I got to turn this off.